Hi, friends. Welcome again to another episode of Great People Interview Series. Today, we have with us Patience Tucker, who is the CEO of YQ. Patience, welcome to this session.
Thank you so much for having me, Sachin. How are you doing?
Well, fantastic. It's a lovely morning. This week is pretty sunny in London, so can't be complaining about it. How about you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. I'm actually in the north of the UK, so in a place called Harrogate, which is about an hour and a half from Manchester, about half an hour from Leeds. So,
Wow.
like you, we do have sunny weather, a bit cloudy, but I can't complain. If you know this side of the north of England, you know that we will take anything we can get.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, lots of fantastic stuff happening around us, these days. And um, let me share with the audience. Um, Patience Tucker is one of the originals when they started YQ about 10, 11 years ago. And since then, she has been, taking on different kind of roles, especially into head of sales. Is that right? Initially, Patience?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So, I mean, it differs a little bit, Sachin, from what my original path in life was going to be. So, originally, guys, I wanted to be a TV presenter. That didn't go quite well because I've ended up in technology and business. But to be fair, I did, marketing media and I did a business degree in order for me to get to my path. So, as Sachin said, I am CEO of YQ. I was between me and the co-founders 10 to 11 years ago. We're the originals to essentially bring together a technology solution that would enable choice for the guests in terms of how the guests wanted to order and pay in an F&B establishment.
Yeah. So on that note, why don't you just describe a little more about what YQ actually does?
Sure. So YQ is a cloud-based mobile ordering solution for the hospitality industry. And we work with two different verticals, so from hotels all the way to fast casual or quick service restaurants. And essentially what we do is we provide services that allow both of those sectors to give the customers how they want to order within their establishments, but also give the operators the opportunity to be more efficient in terms of some of the technology that they've had over a certain period of time. So effectively, what we wanted to do is have no barrier to entry. So as a guest, such as yourself and I, anywhere in the world, as long as your device was connected to the internet, then you would be able to use our services.
Wow, that's fantastic. And absolutely, 11 years ago, it was not as crowded as it is today. So I think not only Patience is the originals of YQ, she's actually originals of online ordering when it was just taking birth, I should say, and wasn't really mature at the time. Um, and that industry was going through its inception, you may say, or you may say, well, different solutions were being designed. And it's great to see that some of the designs are still around, which means they were future proof. So YQ is that organization, friends, which had that design and something for the future in mind. They designed something which is still working, and well, in fact, going heavy now, and with good brands and lots of customers across 60 plus countries where the platform is being used, and the volume of the transactions per month. Patience, could you repeat me that the number?
Yeah, of course. When you put it like that, it does sound very impressive, doesn't it? Yeah, so we process about 1.1, $1.2 million transactions a month, so orders, sorry, a month. And you can obviously imagine what that means in terms of the many millions, hundreds of millions that comes through our platform across 62 different countries. and across multiple different regions as well. So yeah, it's the growth for YQ has been has been gradual, as you said, Sashin. I think 10, 11 years ago, if you went to anybody in the marketplace and say, hey, did you want to order something from your mobile? I think they'll look at you and go, no, I'd bank on my mobile.
Yeah,
Banking itself is like, not really heard of without having to
yeah,
go into the branch. So now to say, hey, you can order wherever you are in the world and it will come to you. Yes, we had a tough time trying to convince operators that this was a thing. And then obviously invariably guests as well.
yeah, absolutely. So I think we have chosen today's topic as the evolution and future of personalized mobile ordering experiences. And as you can see, friends, who better than patients could probably talk on this topic? Because it's not just about giving you some bookish fundamentals, but it's actually the experience that she's going to be sharing, because that's exactly what she does. Isn't that brilliant? Somebody's done that. Well, we want to know what are the things that you shouldn't have done, and maybe the audience would realize, oh, all right, I need to watch that area. And so I think let's dive slightly deeper into this topic. Um, Today, we're talking about uh, mobile phones being used for anything and everything. It is as if it's integral part of our body. If we're not having mobile on us, it just feels that we lost something. We probably blind and deaf and um, so we have yes, as patient said, banking, health data, even our identity is on mobile. So ordering food and drink from the same device isn't new to us. I think we're doing that, but um, I think this is something that you have to imagine. YQ started 11 years ago when it wasn't that standard, and I think it was a very uh, innovative thinking at that point in time. Today, what they bring to the table is probably the experience of how to do it right. So there are many people who would do it today, how to do it right. So let me just hand it over to patients and explain to us a little bit more around the the topic, and let's listen to her what she has to say.
Cool. Thank you very much. So let me just take you back probably more than 11 years, probably 15 or 16 years ago, when one of my co-founders was on a holiday, and he was sat by the pool and he wanted to have a drink, and he could see the waiting staff in the back end. It was trying to get the waiting staff's attention to try and order a drink. And after a few minutes, he just realized that that was never going to happen because the waiting staff was enamored with a group of girls. And he sat there, and one of my co-founders has always been in mobile technology, mobile repair. And he sat there and he said, wouldn't it be great if I could just order to the sunbed that I'm sat in? That way I wouldn't have to get waiting staff, and that way I would just be able to have a drink and I would be in peace. Fast forward probably 7 or 8 years, and when the technology started to change, the thinking started to be, do you know what, maybe this could be, we could do it when smartphones were starting to be a thing. 10, 12 years ago, and when more and more people started to have access to sort of mobile phones. And so, got together with a couple of my co-founders, myself, and said, look, we have this idea. It solves a real need, but I don't really know how to do it yet. We need technology, how to do it. And, it was exciting because, I was in the background and I was a waiting staff in my youth. And the concept of having to make life easier for members of staff was something which I understood very well. And so when we launched YQ, it wasn't called YQ at that time. I can't even remember what it was called initially, but it definitely wasn't YQ. And when we started initially, it was, it was an app, it was something that somebody had to download. And we very, very quickly did a U-turn because we realized that at that time, for you to ask somebody to download an app for them to order when they were time poor, when they were families, they just wanted to order and pay, they just wanted to go, was something that wasn't going to work. So about 6 months from launching, we did a huge, huge U-turn and said, gosh, we're going to be competing with the likes of potentially the Starbucks app or the big apps in the marketplace. And there's no way we would have competed with those brands at that time. So we created a web app, and that web app essentially allowed us to be able to open up our tech. It also allowed us to be able to develop faster because it meant that we could have the core functionality the same, and then the front end could be customized depending on the branding, depending on the customer type and the verticals. It could be branded to each different business that we worked with. And so we did that. We were very happy with it, went into the marketplace and we spoke to a very big coffee chain and said, hey guys, look at this. We could solve your queuing problems. Why would you want to queue? People could order ahead, and so on and so forth. And they went, this is brilliant, but how does it work with my point of sale? We were like, what do you mean? They're like, well, how are you expecting my orders to go to the kitchen, to then go into my inventory, to then go into my payments, everything else? We're like, right. Let's take a rewind, another U-turn, came back to the drawing board and said, right. So it needed to be able to integrate into the point of sale. We needed to be able to take payments because we wanted to be a global company. So we needed to define what our vision, what our strategy was going to be. And once we did that, it allowed us to be able to decide what the mobile ordering solution was meant to be. And one of the main thing we did as well is we recognized that somebody's device is, and I think that, and it still is probably the most expensive real estate that a person will have, because you do everything through a device, as Sachin said. So banking, you can hold your identity on there, you hold all your emails, you hold all your communication, everything is on your device. And so if we're asking a guest or consumer such as you and I to do something with their mobiles, then what are we going to give them in return? Well, we're going to have to give them a really good customer experience. We're going to have to make their life easier for them. And so the solution that we developed meant that there's no point in just ordering. You should be able to order and pay. And there's no point just doing your card details. You should be able to use Apple Pay and Android Pay, because that's what most people pay with in terms of what device you have. And you should be able to pre-order before you get there. And also, if I'm gluten intolerant, then I should be able to filter the entire menu that doesn't contain gluten, should be available for me to order from. So all of these experiences come back to the fact that we wanted to create a customer-centric business and solution. So that's what we did. And so we then did it, like I said, it took us probably 2 years, I think, to come back to the market and say, hey guys, we've cracked it. We've got a product. It works. It's agnostic. You could do it 3G, 4G. You could do it Wi-Fi enabled if you wanted to do that. And it can work into different environment. And then what happened? COVID. We were like, brilliant. What we can't do, it was literally a perfect storm. But for us, COVID was a blessing in the bit that overnight, that concept, that thought process of using your own device to do more than just banking, overnight just switched. And for operators, the concept of going, I need to be in a service-based industry where it's all about, somebody takes your order, puts into the till, you want to pay, somebody goes and gets a device, come back to you. Actually, that was not going to happen because of the staff shortages, everything combated to it. And so taking the whole entire ordering process into the digital world, into the digital sphere, became an overnight thing. So all of a sudden, operators started to understand that actually it could use and they can drive value through technology. And by doing that, they could not only increase their revenue and make sure that the operational efficiencies was where it needed to be, but they could actually create a really, really excellent guest experience, because what they could do is to truly understand their guests, to truly understand what customers are ordering. Do they have too many gluten intolerant items on the menus? What is the preferred method for customers? And could they keep them by offering some sort of loyalty incentives that allow repeat customers? So all of a sudden, everything we've been trying to talk about for the last few years before COVID, it just came into play. And I think one of the things which everybody said, well, mobile ordering is the same, everybody can do the same thing. But what we had was 3 or 4 years of thinking, 3 or 4 years of going, we need to talk to the point of sale. You need to talk to the PMS. You need to give customers choice of how they wanted to pay. We need to be able to scale, which means the back-end infrastructure needed to be designed and well thought out in order for it to scale, and so in the front end and vice versa. And so I think that whole shift in thinking has allowed us to create a solution that essentially is multi-language. So it doesn't matter what device it's in, it can play in that language, and it could be global, which means as long as we can connect that device and connect to the operator's infrastructure, we're able to offer our solution to the guests within. So it's been a eye-learning and eye-opener even journey for us. And whilst it's been incredibly exciting at different points, especially when the market has, really started to adopt our tech, it's also proved its challenges because, you get competitors within the marketplace for that. But one of the main things in all of this is that our solution, it works and it fits into what the hospitality industry is trying to do, which is to make sure that all its legacy and antiquated systems had a digital solution that can talk to it irrespective of how it was developed in the first place. And that is what we've built, and it's all proprietary software.
So it's great to see that evolution to that point, where we now have a system where it's integrating with multiple vendors, multiple different systems, and ensuring that the customer is actually using all these systems as one system. Now, going to the other part of our topic, future. So, what do you see the future of this personalized mobile ordering?
Yeah, so I think, the future of mobile ordering or guest digital engagement is going to change. And it's already changing. And I touched a little bit upon it in terms of how loyalty plays part into it. I think we as consumers understand that if somebody wants to take up our space on our mobile or in our head, then it needs to be worthwhile for us in order for that to happen. And I think it's twofold. I think the customer is becoming the heart of everything that we do. And I think a lot of people and a lot of operators are moving towards this customer-centric way of working. And so when you look at mobile ordering, the ability to pre-order to be there, if you're going to have a coffee at 9 a.m. every single morning because you come up the tube, you come out the train, and you walk past a famous coffee brand, then why would you not pre-order, get it, pick it up, and then leave? Why have to wait, in order for that to happen? Your preferences, how it works. Why would you not do that? And you earn loyalty for it. But actually, if you've got an operator that owns multiple different businesses or outlets within its brand, why would you not be able to earn and burn across all the different brands? So why, if it's a retail brand and a hospitality brand, but you are the same customer and they know you are the same customer, well, I should be able to earn what I've had in my F&B outlet into my retail outlet. And if that particular brand also has a group of hotels and I can stay there, I should be able to complete that entire ecosystem loop where I can earn and burn in rooms, hotels, I can do it on food and drinks, and I can do it in retail as well. That is taking the whole innovation and the loyalty element to a certain level. And I think you're going to get that. I think it's called conceptual integrations, I think is a term is, whereby if you're asking you and I, an operator is asking you and I to do something, then what is the benefit to me for that to happen? Because I'm busy, I have other ways of working. So if you want me to do something, give me something in return. So I think consumers will see that moving forward.
Wow, fantastic. And I guess we can't move ahead when we talk about future. We can't move ahead without talking about AI. I guess, and it's quite. I just see that interesting application of AI, which kind of has already been built into these systems and your system over the years, which is based on logic, but
Yes.
obviously it's a neurologic. So
Right.
we have built saying that okay, you don't want you want gluten free. I want to ensure that you are only shown all the gluten free items and the others are not shown. Or if you take something, I would
Yeah.
say, hey, are you sure this has
Yeah.
got gluten? Right? Are you sure you're ordering this? Maybe I'm ordering for my friend who doesn't mind, but that's fine. You know.
Hmm.
So I think, and also this predicting my understanding my behavior more, and predicting what I might like to eat now. I think that's going to be amazing. So I say, I'm, after work, I'm tired. Um, get me something, right?
Yeah.
And and then AI kind of builds up. Okay, I'm going to get you a salad, and with your sandwich you most ordered, probably, and with a coffee that you would normally have in the evenings after work. And so kind of, these the wild thoughts that came into my mind actually. But and so without me actually having to create my order, it just says, hey, I'll give you option one, option two,
Yeah.
and so
Absolutely.
you could just choose, and you're like, okay, get me that. Because many
Yeah.
times it happens that I'm not really sure what I want to have. um, and can somebody do it for me? And that's
Yeah.
AI, I guess.
Yeah. I think it's a very valid point, right? The upsell capabilities, and I think from a guest point of view, if you are gluten free on a platform, why should you, if you were to go to a different establishment and they had YQ there, why should you have to tell it that you are gluten free in that particular? It should just remember that you are gluten free in that establishment. So then it can turn around and say, hey, in the previous establishment, you had, I don't know, a vegetable burger, for argument's sake, that was gluten free. In this one, there isn't a vegetable burger, but there's probably a halloumi burger, which is similar, right, in terms of how it's going to work. So all of this suggestive selling and all of this, the machine learning in terms of your preferences, what day it is, what do you always order? Do you always order for 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock? All of those patterns of behavior
Yeah,
should be able to represent itself into a technology that you are able to be able to take heed of, because we are busy. Everybody's busy. People have got family lives. People have got students who are working. You've businesses, business owners. Everybody's busy, and so if you can find in an element of your life where actually you don't really have to think about it and have to go, should I just check because I'm celiac that this hasn't got that in? Where can I? But actually, that already showed, and to have the confidence in knowing that when you order this particular dish, which is similar to dish that you've had before, it's not going to make you sick, and it's not going to endanger your life. That is within the world of hospitality, it's exciting, but also, and Sasha, in doing this, translating that back to the operators who have these type of technologies to offer the guests such as you and I, it's even more exciting for them, because they don't have to have staff to go, are you gluten intolerant? Can I just confirm this? Because they
yeah,
trust the technology can do that. And there's the operational efficiency that does that. And
yeah,
they know that they're providing menu items that customers want and not what they think customers want, because they've
yeah,
got the data that's to show behind it. So all of this, having, I don't know, 2 for 1 on a Thursday, maybe doesn't work. Maybe they need to have it on a Wednesday because more people, order on a Wednesday, and therefore they're not got food waste, in their kitchens, because they've run, they're not selling a specific item. So
yeah,
that brings it a whole, that's a different type of AI learning, right? But one that
yeah.
is very tangible, but you can actually, it's not conceptual, just very, very tangible.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's fantastic, fantastic. Well, I think we spoke a lot on this, topic of the evolution, and then we looked into the future. Going back to your business, just wanted to understand what are some of the challenges you are currently facing in your business.
Yeah, it's a very, very good question. I think, from a technology point of view, it's been the shift in the mindset of operators to truly understand what our tech can do. I think, it's very easy to understand what point of sale system can do, or PMS or payment gateway. When you're trying to then take all of that into an e-com platform and a different way of working, it's not so easy for that technology to be understood. So I think we've had to do a lot of, like I said at the beginning, a lot of rethinking about the systems that we would integrate into. We've had to think a lot about the cross-border challenges in terms of taxes in certain different countries, language barriers in different countries, and most importantly, where the landscape is so crowded, we've had to fight even harder to say, look, what we have is proprietary software. It isn't lots of different softwares mashed together to create something, and therefore something goes wrong, you're trying to blame different softwares as to why it's gone wrong. What we truly have is a technology platform that allows operators to scale with it in multiple different countries, but also gives a really good guest experience. And that is something which we are constantly fighting, constantly trying to get that visibility within the marketplace.
Wow, fantastic. That's amazing. I think it was a wonderful conversation that I would like never to end. I just really continuing and talking about, many other aspects of this business and trying to understand this industry, more and more. But probably that's all we time had for today. Uh, but before we go, any advice to the entrepreneurs who have just started or about to start? Uh, because obviously you have been there and you have been successfully here today, building something that you had passion for, and yeah, it's something that worked. So any
Yeah,
advice?
I probably have four, if I can, if I may.
Yeah.
The first one is start by solving a real problem. My co-founder had a real problem that he wanted. It was just there, and I think as technology advanced, he then came at it, and we could work on something to solve it. I think ultimately listen to your customers. This is my second point, because it doesn't matter what you think you want. If your customers don't use your solution, if the customers aren't, if they're not doing what they say they're going to do, then that's not working for them, because they're finding a challenge and it's a barrier to entry for them, right? We always put ourselves in the shoes of the customer, and my co-founder always referred back to, I just wanted an easy life, a drink, and that's where I wanted to get to. And that's what we always try to focus on, what would be easier for the customer, but also eventually for the staff members that had to use this tech and had to enable this tech as part of their everyday operations. And lastly, have a great try and have a team of people who understand you. You're never gonna see eye to eye, but to understand you and understand what what you want to do, and that includes founders, or not founders, and investors, if you were going to go for angel invested or institutional investors, or even friends and family to try and invest, right? Find that group of people or person that that they have your back always, because in that world, it's very difficult to lose yourself in terms of what you're trying to create, and to lose the focus of why you were doing it in the first place. And to just think very carefully about that, because that is so important. Because when the times are really hard and challenging, you want somebody to bounce off, and you want an investor, friends, family, angel investment, institutional investment, who understands it, who will back you and go, yeah, okay, take five, and just let's focus and start again. So resilient in all of that is so key. Not patience, but resilient. It's very important.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for that valuable piece of advice. I'm sure those who are entering this entrepreneurship era. I think it would be great for them to get started with some real advice. Um, I think overall we had a wonderful conversation and saw this, technology, how it is changing the experience of every person who is using that technology. So the focus is more on, how you execute that idea than the idea itself. So
Right.
I can see that, you have done it really well. You focused on the real problem and you solved it. Not only that, you had, long years of experience in ensuring that every smallest of the details are covered. And I think that's what we need to learn. Attention to detail has actually given you the results, that you see today, which is fantastic. Well, I guess, it's time to say goodbye, but thank you so much for coming in.
Thank
And
you for having me.
it was really wonderful conversation. I must
Thank
say that the learners and entrepreneur friends, they're going to find this quite useful conversation. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you very much. And good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Yeah.